Los Angeles, California, March 1970. It's just after 3 on a Tuesday afternoon at the Dragon's Lair Boxing and Martial Arts Gym on Sunset Boulevard. The place is quiet, most of the daytime crowd already gone. The only sounds are fists thumping against heavy bags, shoes squeaking on the canvas, and the occasional grunt of effort. The air smells sharp, sweat, leather, liniment, the unmistakable scent of a gym where real fighters train, not the clean commercial fitness centers that would dominate years later. In the main ring, a man is working the heavy bag. His name is Tommy, the Hammer Morrison, not the heavyweight who would carry that nickname years later, but a different Tommy Morrison, a middleweight kickboxing champion making waves in Southern California. He's 28, undefeated in 17 professional fights with 14 knockouts. Standing 6'1", long arms give him a reach advantage, and his muscular, sculpted body shows the years of dedication he's put into training. His face tells a story, too. A slightly crooked nose, scar tissue above both eyes, a roadmap of fights past. But more than his skill, Tommy carries a dangerous ego. His success has made him arrogant, convinced he's invincible, untouchable, superior not just in fighting, but in worth. People outside the ring are beneath him, mere observers to his greatness. Today, that arrogance is about to meet its match. Tommy throws a series of punches, left jab, right cross, left hook, right uppercut. Each combination smooth, precise, powerful. His trainer, Eddie, an older man who's seen too many fighters fall into the trap of their own pride, calls out corrections. "Faster on the jab, Tommy. Keep that right hand up. Good, again." Tommy obliges, focused, preparing for a big fight next month against another regional champion, a fight that could open doors to national, maybe even international recognition. He's driven, determined, and convinced of his own superiority. Across the gym, near the entrance, someone else moves quietly. A smaller man, around 5'7", wearing faded jeans and a gray t-shirt, is mopping the floor. He moves methodically, efficiently, almost unnoticed. His name is Bruce Lee, but Tommy has no idea. To him, this small Asian man is just the janitor, a nobody. He's been around the gym for a week, always cleaning, always quiet, staying out of the way. Tommy assumes he's an immigrant, grateful for the menial work, never pausing to wonder why this janitor moves with such perfect balance, why his forearms are corded with muscle, or why his eyes seem to take in everything. Bruce isn't there to train, at least not yet. He's been observing the gym because he's considering buying it, turning it into a proper martial arts academy. The owner, an old friend, offered Bruce the first option before putting it on the market. Bruce wants to understand the space, the people, the flow, before making any decision. Sometimes he trains, sometimes he watches, and sometimes he cleans. For Bruce, no task is beneath anyone. Humility is a part of growth. Pride is the enemy of learning. He's cleaned floors, scrubbed toilets, and worked alongside students for years, teaching that a true martial artist serves others rather than demanding service. Today, when the gym's regular janitor called in sick, Bruce picked up the mop. It's just another task, another chance to be mindful, to practice presence, to find calm in the mundane. But to Tommy Morrison, it's a chance to assert dominance. He sees Bruce moving toward the corner where his gym bag sits and decides to make his superiority clear. "Hey," Tommy called out, sharp and commanding. "Janitor, come here." Bruce looked up from his mopping, expression calm, neutral. He'd heard that tone before, the tone of someone who thinks they're better than the world, someone who is never truly humbled. Bruce considered ignoring Tommy, finishing his work and walking away, but curiosity stopped him. He wanted to see how far this would go. He set the mop aside and walked toward the ring, his movements calm, relaxed, unthreatening. "Yes," Bruce said, his English flawless, without a hint of accent. Tommy blinked, surprised. He'd expected broken English, or maybe none at all. But he pushed past that surprise, focused on asserting his dominance. "You missed a spot over here," Tommy pointed, to a perfectly clean section of floor near his gym bag. "Clean it again and bring your mop. I want to see you do it right." Eddie, Tommy's trainer, shifted uneasily. He'd seen this before, fighters letting success poison their character. "Tommy, leave the guy alone. He's doing his job," Eddie said quietly. "I'm just making sure he does it properly," Tommy replied, eyes locked on Bruce. "This is a professional gym. Standards matter." Bruce walked calmly to retrieve the mop and bucket. He could have explained who he was, could have corrected Tommy's arrogance, but he was curious to see how far this man's pride would go. He returned to the spot near Tommy's bag and began mopping the already spotless floor. "Slower," Tommy commanded, leaning against the ropes, enjoying the power he held over someone he considered inferior. "I'll take it easy on you. Don't want to actually kill the janitor. Bad for business." "No gloves," Bruce said, pulling off his shirt, revealing a body that made Eddie's jaw drop. Muscles carved, functional, strong, not bulky, but perfect for speed, power, precision. Small scars marked years of training, of real combat. "This is not an untrained man," Eddie thought. "This is no janitor." "Who the hell are you?" Eddie asked, realization dawning. "My name is Bruce Lee," Bruce said simply. The gym went silent. Everyone knew that name. Everyone. Bruce Lee, the martial arts legend, Hollywood actor, revolutionary choreographer, teacher to Steve McQueen and James Coburn, stood in their gym, and Tommy Morrison had just disrespected him. Tommy's bravo faltered. His face went pale. "There's only one," Bruce said calmly. "Now, do you want to apologize or do you want to fight?" Tommy's mind raced. For the first time, he realized he'd stepped into a fight far bigger than himself.
Tommy knew he should back down, walk away, look weak in front of witnesses rather than humiliated. But another thought overpowered his common sense. If he fought and somehow won, he could say he beat Bruce Lee. The possibility of glory, of proving himself against a legend, was too much for his pride to resist. "I don't care who you are," Tommy said, trying to sound confident. "You're in my ring, and I'm a professional fighter. Let's do this." Eddie tried one last time. "Tommy, don't. You have no idea what you're getting into." "I know exactly what I'm getting into," Tommy replied. "1 minute, that's all I need. I'm gonna knock out Bruce Lee and become famous." Bruce sighed. He'd given Tommy an out, a chance to save some dignity, but pride had sealed his fate. "No gloves," Bruce said calmly. "No rules. You wanted to assert dominance? Here's your chance." Tommy nodded and tossed his gloves aside. The two men faced each other in the center of the ring. A handful of witnesses pressed closer, sensing something extraordinary was about to happen. Eddie reluctantly agreed to signal the start, feeling like he was about to watch a disaster. "Are you both sure about this?" Eddie asked. "Just start it," Tommy said, bouncing on his toes, fists raised. Bruce stood still, relaxed, hands at his sides. He looked almost casual, like he was waiting for a bus, not about to fight a champion kickboxer. "Begin," Eddie said quietly. Tommy exploded with a flurry of punches, left jab, right cross, left hook, every strike fast, powerful, precise, but they hit nothing. Bruce had shifted barely an inch, moved his head ever so slightly, and the blows passed through empty air. Tommy tried again, another combination, another complete miss, like striking smoke. Bruce wasn't blocking, wasn't dodging dramatically. He simply wasn't there when the punches arrived. His footwork was minimal, yet perfect, his movements economical, wasting no energy. Frustration surged. Tommy threw everything into a right hand, his biggest, hardest punch. Bruce ducked under it and was suddenly inside Tommy's guard, close enough to whisper. 7 seconds have passed. Time's almost up. Then Bruce moved. One hand shot out, just an inch, barely any distance, and his punch landed perfectly on Tommy's solar plexus. It was the legendary 1-inch punch. Power generated not by size or force, but by perfect biomechanics from the ground up through Bruce's body, expressed in a single devastating strike. Tommy's eyes widened. The air exploded from his lungs in a sharp whoosh. His hands dropped, his legs buckled. He staggered backwards, struggling to breathe, stunned. He had been hit before, hard, but never like this. This wasn't about brute force, it was precision, timing, exact placement. He tried to fight back. His hands rose, but his body refused to respond. His diaphragm spasmed, breath wouldn't come, legs felt like water. Bruce didn't attack again. He simply watched. The lesson was delivered. Tommy fell to one knee, gasping, then forward onto all fours, defeated. Total time, 10 seconds. Eddie looked at his stopwatch in disbelief. 10 seconds. An undefeated middleweight champion, 17 fights, completely dismantled in 10 seconds by one man with one punch. The witnesses were silent, stunned. They had just seen history. Bruce Lee had humiliated an arrogant champion, and the lesson was unforgettable. Bruce calmly climbed out of the ring, picked up his shirt, pulled it on, and walked back to where Tommy was still struggling on the floor. He knelt beside him, speaking quietly. "Pride is the enemy," Bruce said. "Arrogance blinds you. You never asked who I was. You assumed. You treated someone as inferior without knowing anything about them. Learn from this." Tommy, still gasping, nodded. The physical pain was sharp, but the humiliation, shattered ego, pride destroyed, was worse. Eddie helped him to his feet. The champion slumped into a corner, chest heaving, face pale, shock and embarrassment etched across him. "I tried to warn you," Eddie said softly. There was no satisfaction in his voice, only sadness at seeing his fighter broken. Meanwhile, Bruce returned to the mop and bucket by the gym entrance. He resumed cleaning, as calm and casual as if nothing had happened, like defeating a champion and cleaning a floor were equally ordinary tasks. A young fighter who had been watching approached hesitantly. "Mr. Lee," he said nervously, "can I ask you something?" "Of course," Bruce replied. Bruce continued mopping. "Why go back to cleaning?" the young fighter asked. "You just beat a champion. You proved your point. Why pick up the mop again?" Bruce paused, looking at him calmly. "Because the floor still needs cleaning. Because I said I'd help my friend. Because no task is beneath anyone." He looked out at the gym, at the handful of witnesses still staring in disbelief. Tommy Morrison's mistake wasn't treating a janitor badly. His mistake was treating anyone badly. Respect isn't about status or occupation. It's about recognizing the humanity in every person. The young fighter nodded slowly, taking it in. "Did you have to fight him?" he asked. "No," Bruce admitted. "I chose to because some lessons can only be learned through experience." Tommy needed to understand that size, strength, and championship belts don't make you superior. There's always someone better. Someone who can humble you. Maybe now he'll think twice before treating others as inferior. By the time Bruce finished cleaning, Tommy had recovered enough to stand. He approached slowly, holding his chest, his face a mixture of embarrassment, respect, lingering pain, and something else, something like gratitude. "Mr. Lee," Tommy said quietly, "I'm sorry for everything, for what I said, for how I treated you. I was wrong." Bruce set the mop aside and looked him in the eye. "Apology accepted," he said, "but don't apologize to me. Apologize to the next person who cleans this gym. Apologize to everyone you've treated as beneath you. And then, change. Be better." Tommy hesitated, then asked, "Would you consider training me, teaching me?" Bruce smiled faintly. "You want to learn from the janitor?" Tommy winced. "I deserved that. But yes, I want to learn. Not just fighting, everything. What you showed me, it wasn't just about fighting, it was about life." "I don't take many students," Bruce said, "but come to my school in Chinatown tomorrow.
We'll see if you're serious." Tommy's face lit up despite his lingering pain. "I'll be there, thank you. Thank you for the lesson, for not really hurting me. You could have." "I could have," Bruce agreed, "but that wasn't the point. The point was never to hurt you. The point was to wake you up." The gym owner, who had been in the back office, came out. "Bruce, what are you doing? Where's the janitor I hired?" "He called in sick. I was just helping out." The witnesses looked around, sensing he had missed something monumental. What happened here? "Education happened," Eddie said quietly, "the kind you can't get in a classroom." In the weeks that followed, the story spread through the martial arts community. Tommy Morrison showed up at Bruce's school the next day, as promised, and became a dedicated student. He rarely spoke of the incident, but when he did, he told it honestly. He admitted his arrogance, his cruelty, and how Bruce Lee had humbled him in 10 seconds with one punch. Tommy became a better fighter, yes, but more importantly, he became a better person. He started teaching underprivileged kids for free, remembering how he had once judged people by their circumstances. He treated everyone with respect, from fellow fighters to janitors to the homeless on the street. The lesson had stuck. Bruce, for his part, told very few people. To him, it was just another teaching moment, no different from a class or a conversation over tea. But the witnesses never forgot. They told their students, who told their students, who told their students. Over time, the story became legend. Details sometimes shifted, but the heart of it remained. Bruce Lee, mistaken for a janitor, disrespected by an arrogant champion, teaching a lesson in humility in 10 seconds with one punch. Years later, when Bruce Lee had become a global icon, his movies known around the world, and martial artists everywhere studied his philosophy, people would sometimes ask Tommy Morrison about that day. What was it like to fight him, they would ask. Tommy, older now, wiser, his fighting career behind him, would smile and say, "It wasn't a fight, it was an education, the most important 10 seconds of my life."